go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the November meeting of North Point Peninsula Council. We're going to start like we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Praise the Lord.
Well, again, welcome to everybody who's here in person, and greetings to everybody who's going to be watching this at a later date. We seem to be really getting a lot of hits on these meetings, so I think it's definitely something we're going to continue to do with live stream and put them up. One of the things we wanted to talk about tonight was Facebook has a new policy that they only keep the Facebook Live meetings for 30 days. So if you are within 30 days of the meeting, you can watch them on there. But if you wanted to see some of the back meetings, some of the back speakers, you have to go to our YouTube channel, and it's North Point Peninsula Council. We're just transferring all those over, so they're not all over there yet. But
All of this year is.
all of this year is okay. So everything from this year is already over. So if you wanted to see any of our past speakers, so we're going to move right along here with the agenda that we have. And first up is, as typical, is Officer Briggs. So, Chris.
All right. So for the last month, you all had, let's see, your time was October 2nd to November 5th, 279 calls for service, 67 reports written. Let's see, did I email you the crash data for North Point and Beth? All right, I will send it to you. At the last meeting, somebody asked for that pre-trade point and post.
Okay.
So we had our crime analysis people put that together. I can't remember who it was that asked for that, and we had done that. Sorry, hold on one second. I forgot. Okay, so back to your crime data. 279 calls for service, 67 reports written. No robberies, no burglaries, no theft of autos. However, you had 4 theft from autos. All were unlocked vehicles. 1 to 20, and all were on the 14th of October. 1 on the 2700 block of Wells Avenue, 1 on the 2800 block of Wells Avenue, 1 on the 2800 block of Delmar, 1 on the 2900 block of Delmar. All, like I said, all of the vehicles were unlocked. Items were stolen. In this particular case, when one of the victims had reported the theft, they had indicated that at around 4, almost 5 o'clock in the morning, one of their either credit or debit cards was used at a gas station just inside the city on Eastern Avenue. The officers contacted the city and got good response from the city officers who went to the gas station, got video surveillance, was able to give us good suspect information. And fortunately, the officers that did this still monitor that area, and later on that afternoon observed the suspect still in the area, detained him, and the officers that took the report went to that area, were able to identify him and place that person under arrest. So for all 4 of those theft of autos, that person was placed under arrest. He is from the Precinct 12 area, not from Edgemere, but he's, what did I say, 36 years old? 36 years old. He's from the Precinct 12 area, so he's somewhat familiar with the area. So an arrest has been made in all 4 of those theft from autos because he was charged with all 4 of them. A lot of the property was recovered and returned to the property owners, but not all of it, unfortunately. The only other thing that we had, one narcotics report, one narcotics/weapons report was written, and that was on the 9th of October. This was around the Schoolhouse Lane area. Our in-house in-house detectives and warrant squad was surveilling a house in Schoolhouse Lane. They had an arrest warrant for a suspect for the, if you remember back in April, we had that shooting in and around the intersection of North Point Road and Sparrows Point Road.
On the Citgo station there.
Yes, okay, so right around that area. Because we don't let things go, our detectives have actively been working that, and they were able to get an arrest warrant for the suspect in reference to that. On the 9th of October, they were surveilling the area for that suspect, were able to place him under arrest, and a search of that person's car and their home. They were able to seize 3 loaded firearms and approximately 20 grams of cocaine/fentanyl as part of that arrest. So in addition to the weapons charges and drug charges, he's also being charged with the shooting in April. I don't know specifically what the charges are for the shooting. I don't know if it's an attempt murder charge. I don't know if it's just a first degree assault charge. The specific charges for that I don't have, but so in addition to the October 9th call and those charges, the April incident has been cleared and charges have been made for that as well.
Was he from this area, Chris?
Yes, yes, he
Was
is.
he like
He
the
is.
community
He's actually from the
service?
engineer. I'm sorry.
Community service.
No, this one he might get a little bit more. So, yeah, that might be a little bit more than community service. But that's all I have for the crime stats. Any questions, concerns? Yes, Francis.
At Merritt Boulevard and North Point Road, did they install cameras up there?
What kind of cameras are you
I
referring
think
to?
for the red light and going through the lights.
Are you talking about the little camera at the top of the lights?
I seen somebody install them a couple weeks back.
No, but are you referring to those little things that you see on top, like by the lights itself?
I don't recall,
Okay, because they're not cameras, they're sensors for traffic.
but somebody was installing something on the right side coming down Merritt Boulevard before you get to North Point Road.
By the lights or on the side of the road?
Up by the lights. Was that?
It's probably traffic sensors.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to ride through and double check. We have not been told of any speed or red light cameras being installed in the area, so I'm pretty confident they're going to be traffic sensors. Yeah.
Are you aware if does the county have jurisdiction of all the Trade Point interconnecting roads?
Mm-hmm.
So you do, okay.
Yes.
Trucks are just parking everywhere on the shoulders, I'm just curious.
So it is I believe that area is private. We can go down there. Speed enforcement, we handle calls for service, handle crashes. As far as like the truckers and the parking in that Trade Point area, to the effect of parking, I don't know how much they're going to enforce as far as that, because unless Trade Point makes a big issue of it, I'm not sure how much they're ready to go down. But yes, we can go in there, and it's all part of Baltimore County, so we can.
So if it's not marked, are they allowed to park there? Or is
Yeah,
it-
if it's not a marked no parking zone, then yes. It would have to be clearly marked.
Is it it?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. Enjoy your meeting, everybody.
Okay, well, that wasn't too bad. Next up is our speaker, who is the senior aide for Councilman Crandell, Mr. Doug Anderson, and we asked Doug to join us. It's been a while since we've seen him, and give us a little bit of information about a couple things he's been helping us with, and also just have a conversation.
Yeah, just two things. Can you all hear me okay? How about now? That'd be good. So, two things. First, 2518 Sparrows Point Road. Let's see, it was somebody.
That's Miss Rose. That's
Yeah. So, they did get their permits. Now, there's a lot to this. It's a complex issue. For whatever reason, they were approved. There was 4 gas meters, I think, noticed outside, or maybe it was 6. So, they were approved for 1 apartment. Now, the thing is, the one one apartment is a 4-bedroom apartment they're claiming with a bottom level layer, like a fitness room, a common area. So it's pretty clear what they're really trying to do. However, the thing to remember is, it still falls under the rules of no more than 2 last names. So if we have 4 different people in that, it becomes a code enforcement violation. and it becomes
Parking
an
too, right?
Pardon me?
Parking too, right? Because they don't have any parking.
Well, they had enough parking to get approved. That would stop the approval if not. But being approved for just one apartment means only 2 spaces. So again, I mean.
What did they say they had 7?
Where's that?
7, what is that all they had there? Somebody was talking.
Right across from schools all voted.
I didn't mean to cut
Yeah.
that's, I think they only had 7.
But the halfway house.
They ain't very many parking spots there.
Yeah, but I don't even think they have 7. I think it's.
I might be wrong, I know it's
Yeah.
very minimal.
So it's something, I've been watching this for 2 years.
Building.
And I'm always the one that finds out from one of you, like, hey, I noticed and I gotta go down. I'm like, oh, okay, then I'm gonna make calls. So let's just keep watching it and see what happens next.
Well, the other issue with that is that it was a BR zone, right? The BR, BL.
It was. We changed it to CB, I think, to sort of encourage maybe some restaurant use or something like that.
Yeah, but you still gotta do special exception for apartments in a commercial zone.
And so that could be
Never
going
happened.
on.
There
Yeah.
was never a hearing.
Yeah, so that.
So how do you get a permit without having a hearing?
That's what I asked them.
Yeah, they built the house behind me without a permit.
Last administration.
What happened to all the people signed that petition years ago when the steel point was in there, you know, about, you know, they were gonna turn it into like a halfway house or whatever they was, you know. There was a whole bunch of people wanted steel, I was one of them, I went in there and signed a petition to stop all that, you know. They had this big thing saying, hey, if you live in this area, sign this thing to, stop all that from being, done, whatever the guy was gonna do.
This is still a continuation of that.
Yeah, nothing's
It's
done.
never gone away. It takes different shapes, but it's never gone away.
Yeah, the development process in the county is very long. Even if you do everything right, you're perfectly zoned, it takes at least 9 to 12 months to get something through, and that's when the community's 100% behind you. So this will continue to go, it'll drag out. I'll be watching it first, and keeping notes with Fran to see where it goes. And when it comes time, and it's gonna eventually come time that somebody has to do something, we'll just file a code enforcement complaint every day, we have to.
Well, there is parking in the back of the building.
There is some. Yeah, so but they only need 2. If they claim 1 apartment, you only need 2 parking spaces for 1 apartment. So regardless of what's in the back. So the other thing I'm gonna touch on real quick, redistricting. So county hasn't been sued yet for the new maps wrong. It doesn't affect you all at all as far as engineers are trying to buy water mostly. So your new district will be District 9 next year. And that's what you'll be voting for in the primary and the general election. And it stops at Back River, kind of goes over up a little ways to the hospital, and hits 95 and comes down. So the map is available on the county website. It's much easier to go look at it than me trying to explain it. So then, and finally, the last thing I wanted to do is just ask you all. I mean, I did a lot of these meetings before COVID, and I think COVID really affected a lot of us. First of all, we lost more than half the community associations we had in 2019. They're just gone. COVID killed them. Some of them couldn't adapt to using technology. Some of them just didn't want to deal with it. So what I have noticed post-COVID is a lot of meetings are like half attended. I remember some of these meetings were more than 100 people back in 2017, 2018. So it kind of, I think with all of us being comfortable with sitting on our couch and looking at our phone or our TV or whatever to get what we need, I don't think we have as much participation in community meetings. So my question to all of you is, what would you like me to bring here each month? If I come every single month, what do you want to see? What do you want to know about the council? Because the day-to-day stuff's kind of boring. So what kinds of things would you like to know about the inner workings of the council, maybe the direction that it's going, but certainly budget season, I'll bring that information in. But any ideas, anyone?
It's code issues.
Yeah, that's a big thing, the code stuff. Hey Doug, think
Conditions in our immediate area.
Once we talking about code stuff and stuff like that. Farris Farm Road goes down to the new, so-called boat ramp they got at the end down there.
Yeah, the vote ramp is not ADA compliant.
Right, that one, that's it. They need at the end of the road going in, one of those county signs, so people know it's there. Huh?
I'm not sure where we left off because I got 3 different stories on that boat ramp. And I think, was I talking to you and we weren't exactly sure how much we want to publicize that? And there's also.
Well, I live on Miller's Island, there's only one ramp there at the end of that street.
Right.
And I would like to see it publicized to take some of the burden off the
Okay.
one down there.
Okay. So
Because in the summertime and all,
Yeah.
I mean, it's there one boat ramp, it's like $6.95.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That would help a lot if people knew it was there.
Yeah.
They'll use it.
And that's something else with sort of why I've gotten away from doing meetings, because I'm constantly talking to Fran, Rob Dackrell, Lori Nelson, all of them. And I'd rather bring that here as everybody in here. We don't have as many people, relaying information. But Fran and I have done a lot with that street. I don't know if they have water meters yet. I don't know what the holdup is with PAI on that.
Yeah, that project has just been a mess from the beginning, from the very beginning. And from what we understand, Ed and I, we talk about it all the time too. The last information I got was the county has not taken ownership of it. Chris talked about some traffic issues on the road that they can't really do much about. So we've dug, and all three of us are in the same boat. We've never gotten a straight answer as to when that is going to, number one, really be officially open. Because normally they dedicate a boat ramp. It's a big deal.
You'd think so, if they wanted somebody to know about it.
And the second thing is the ADA thing. We have been hounding on that for 5 or 6 years. I mean, that was just, remember when they put it in was a.
I know you built something in 2025, it's not ADA compliant, come on.
How can you can't.
Yeah, it's not the only one.
I mean, that just says it on the builder's plans. The ADA pier. That was what we insisted on the council 10 years ago.
And this is a good example of what I do all the time. There's a project.
Well, if it's on the plans to build it, why don't they go back to whoever built it, and make them fix it or sue them?
That's where it gets crazy. So the county's still holding the bonds, and we've had PI folks, and they won't. So it's like, I mean, it's.
Well, that's self-explanatory. If we don't talk about it, we don't have to pay it.
Yeah, so and this is the best example of typically what I spend most of my time on. I think they can stretch out for years. So it's extremely frustrating. I would recommend that with the season coming up, and when folks that want to run for county executive come in, these are things you want to talk about. Holding developers accountable, holding agencies accountable, information to the communities, all that stuff. So,
We hear that every 4 years, and then it goes.
So I'll be back here every meeting, unless something, I know there was like 3 other meetings tonight, including the small area plan. I will try and bring the bigger issues in with some kind of update if possible, and if I don't have an update, I'll at least make it understood. Best I can.
I'm Francis Seaman Sr. I'm interested in knowing when we're going to get back river dredge back to 1940 and not have any environmental issue, remove all the swampland that is there, that has been established, all the sediment. And if you look from Eastern Avenue south now, you can see the sediment, how far down it's getting, and it'll eliminate the midgets. And we gotta have anybody that is dumping tap water into tidal water must have the same salt content as at the Bay Bridge. You take the sample once a month at the Bay Bridge, and you test your area where you're discharging into tidal water. If it doesn't have the same salt content as the Bay Bridge, then you have to add more salt to the discharge of the water.
So
This will neutralize the area, and it'll eliminate the midges, because I was told that the midges don't live in salt water, they live in the brackish water that is there.
So just one thing, the councilman probably doesn't have power over that.
Yeah, zero power.
You have all the power that you do. Legislators, when they go to meetings, if somebody brings up something or something that is prevalent to the immediate area, the politician should take heed to help that constituent so that he could get something done through the politician that came to the meeting. We can't have politicians passing the buck and saying, it's not my category of work. You're supposed to represent all people regardless of what they are, how they are, or what they desire.
Okay, and again, it's above our pay grade. So where does it end? Did we go and hostilities in the Middle East too? Did we stop the Russian war? This is state level stuff.
We have to propose this to the state level then, or whoever makes
Okay,
it
where's your
be.
state representatives?
And
Why don't we
you,
make a motion and we invite some state representatives here for the next meeting?
That's the next step.
Look at him, Francis.
Yeah, that's the next step.
Yeah, he's Baltimore
And they're limited
County,
too.
Baltimore County,
because
Francis, he can't.
it's in Baltimore County, and they're gonna put a trash well on Herring Run now, because I went to a meeting earlier in the spring and mentioned to Kathy, the county executive, and a month later or so, 2 months, she announced that she's gonna put a trash well up there. Has there been any results on that?
Not that we've seen.
And one other thing, the 695 Beltway, many years back, I did make the phone call. They were using the potash from Brandon Shore because they didn't want to spend the money to have normal fill dirt. They used the ash from the power plant, which you never do. You never put it somewhere where something's going to have to be stable. That's why they're having all the problem there at 695. They had to drive Powleys down, which in some sense they did. If they could have dug everything back up to the natural ground and then filled it in with proper dirt, we wouldn't have had the problem of spending all that money that they're doing now for the renovation of 695 because the roadway was sinking because the ash that becomes cinder, when it gets wet, it becomes mushy. And you're never supposed to use it on, you can take it and put it on farmers' fields. It'll fertilize the farmers' fields. We used to take all our coal ash from our furnace and put it in our garden. I'm here today, 85 years old. I live with what we put on the garden. It never hurt us. And one other thing.
And you don't want to say ever so.
If you have a question, ask him the question.
It's okay, Fran. It's necessary to hear what I say. And one other thing. The 695 at the Dundalk Turner Station area, we must have an off-ramp and we must have an on-ramp for those people to get on the burning highway. There is none there, and the people had to go under the bridge all the way around, which was like 1.5 miles to 2 miles, to go into the Dundalk exit now that is there. There is no off-ramp to go into Burning Highway.
And we had our input on that in the state in 2015.
What's that?
We inputted our thoughts on that down in Annapolis in 2015. I spoke about that turnaround, mainly because of truckers, keeping truckers out of the neighborhoods. But it's noted, and it is another state issue.
Well, we have to get on this, on the process because I've been numerous places in the country, in our state, and I've never seen somewhere where you had an end of a town where you didn't have an off-ramp to go and an on-ramp to go as a normal process, because people objected to it years back. And we can't listen to paranoid people because they're changing society to be not for the good of things. And,
Okay, we gotta move on.
and they used to have a toll on it.
We gotta
They
move
used
on.
to-
We gotta move on. We gotta
I
move
know,
on.
the last thing, they used
We
to,
have got to move on. We've
why
got
are
to
you
move
stopping
on.
me?
We've got to move on. Yes, sir. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to know what's going on down in Fort Howard, because I've heard that they're still talking about tearing the VA hospital down and putting anywhere. I've heard they'll be on low as 200 houses to as many as 400 or 500, like what they did here at Shaw's Discovery. And I mean, honestly, we didn't need Shaw's Discovery, if we're being completely honest about it. I mean, the schools are overcrowded. I mean, they still don't even, do they have a resolution as far as what they're gonna do about another middle school? I mean, or because there's no use moving to high school, because the high school's already set up. You got the track, the basketball courts, all the fields and everything.
Yeah, so nothing's happened in Fort Howard. Last CCMP, we downzoned into RC20. That
they're
is,
gonna
or is
leave
it
that
RCA?
alone?
I can't remember, but it basically means you can build 5 houses on it total. We effectively ended any conversation on any sort of development whatsoever. That property's gonna sit for a long time. There's this, the issue with it is in order for the leaseholder to make any kind of money off that, he's gonna need very minimum 400 plus units.
Well,
And-
plus it's historic, right? It's considered historic
Yeah.
because of the VA hospital and everything
And
else.
that's the whole, that's the crux of the thing. He has to keep and upgrade those buildings and rebuild them. I think the cost was something like 30 million. This is before COVID.
31.
It's not deemed
31.7.
historic. It's not. It's not historic.
Why is it not historic?
Clarence County
It
absorbed.
has the structures have historical architecture, the houses, that's why they were saved, the buildings that are there.
The ones that was
There's
on,
no
the ones that was
historical
burned down
architecture.
was on the historic register, Ed.
Right, the houses.
burned them down,
Right,
remember?
they burned, right, right. That's the only thing that's, not the grounds or anything
No,
like that.
the
No, I know
homes.
the ground, I know the ground. I'm just
The old
saying
homes,
actual
some of the
property.
old homes are on the historic register yet.
Right.
They burned them down.
And really do appreciate everybody that came out to the CCME hearings on that, to let your voices be heard. Todd downzoned it in 2016. He rejected another proposal from the attorneys in 2020 to upzone it for building, and then we downzoned it further last cycle. We have no interest in seeing any sort of residential housing going in the forever.
When's the last time they were banging on him to try to do anything about it?
Last CCMP.
Last time, okay.
Yeah, so.
No, but in
18 months.
between zoning periods, they haven't been trying
Not
to get.
really. I mean, we've had the same meeting over and over. again.
Okay.
It's, we want to build this many, and we say,
Well,
well,
that's
you
good,
can't.
because we've been hearing, you hear bull crap around the neighborhood.
Yeah, and if you all ever want the actual story, feel free to call me at the office or send me an email. And I'll tell you what's going on with Fort Howard. I got a canned response, basically says nothing.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Very good to know.
It's,
Yeah, well, that's dead. Yeah, but keep an eye on Annapolis, doesn't mean it won't come back.
is there a meeting coming up at the Turner Station School down there in the near future for the 695 in Key Bridge?
I'm sure there is at some point, I don't know when, I haven't heard. There'll be plenty of meetings on
I
Key
thought,
Bridge.
I thought something was coming up on the 11th or something.
Not that I've seen. Well, the bridge is gonna be a long ways out to be completed.
Somebody said like 28 or 29 almost before to be complete.
Well, 28 was the original one.
Yeah.
I was at least 18 months to any government project.
Yeah.
And 20% budget. So I'll see you guys next meeting, or Thursdays, right? As something really serious comes up. Appreciate you letting me stop by and talk. And if you have any questions, and you want facts, whether it's Fort Howard, whether it's whatever, send an email to our office and I'll reply.
Meeting in January.
Not meeting in January.
Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if you heard that, but, our January meeting date is January 1st, and Ed said we can't have meetings. So no meeting in January. Well, we do appreciate Doug giving up his time and coming to the meetings. Hey, Doug, quick question.
Yeah.
So how many community associations are there now, do you think? There were like 25 or something.
There's really about 8
About
that
8.
meet consistently, the way you all do.
Wow.
I actually have to go through and inventory that because my information's all over the place. But I would say 8, maybe less, that meet consistently. And and let me say one more thing real quick, is, if, you know, we've seen, as I said before, we've seen a lot of participation go down in these meetings. These meetings have to happen. We can't live in every community. So when we lose community associations like that, we lose that much more effectiveness of, we gotta know what's going on. Whether it comes to, you know, voting on a bill or whatever, there's stuff that goes through the council all the time, and I have to be able to pick up the phone, call Fran here and say, how does this affect you guys? Or I'll call Ed, and what do you think of it? And if they tell us no, then, you know, if there's no one there, we're really blind.
You need eyes and ears out there.
Yeah, everywhere that's possible.
One more question. At the Bread and Cheese Creek on North Point Road, when are they going to raise the road and rebuild it and put sidewalks along there so that people can walk? The drawings are already made because a few years back I instigated it, and they made the drawings for it, and a couple of years back, they had a cavitation in the road that it took them 3 weeks to fix it. And I asked the county executive then, they already had the drawings, all they had to do was build the bridge, tear the stuff down, because the road was blocked to begin with, and I don't know when the next cavitation will be, and that,
I will see if I can get information on that for next meeting, because that's something we started 2 years ago,
yeah,
many years ago.
and
I
we
think
need to
before
stop,
COVID.
because people are walking to the flea market, to Walmart, and whatever other stores, the Amish people there, they're coming down the road and walking, and people have been hit and killed there
Yeah.
also.
So I'll make a note of it, and if I can get any information, I'll bring it back next week.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was there, had the road blocked.
On the agenda, we'll get to the first thing here.
He drove by.
One of the questions was, excuse me. One of the questions at the last meeting was about the grasses that were grown in Back River. And so Sam Weaver from Maryland Waterways took that back and got some information for us. Sam, did you want to
Can you come up?
tell us what that's all about?
I spoke with,
Wait a minute.
I spoke with Kevin Writing, Dr. Kevin Writing, he's the lead county scientist, and he said it's called hydrilla. It's called hydrilla, and it's an invasive. Nobody else wants it. For Back River, it's probably a good thing. It stamps out other species if it grows over top of them in other rivers, but we don't have any grasses. So it's actually good. It provides fish habitat, and it cleans up the water. It actually helps filter the water come down from Herring Run, where Stemmers run. But everybody else would not like it because it stomps out their native grass. But because we don't have it, it's probably a good thing Back River, according to Kevin. And that's about it for that.
What was the name of it again?
Hydrilla, Hydrilla.
it's helping clean up the water.
Yes, it is helping. It's like a filter. I mean, that thick grass up there, it provides fish habitat. Doc said the water's clear up there, and the fish are hiding all around the edges of that and underneath that grass. So for a Back River, it's actually pretty good.
So why do they claim the rockfish population's still down? They say every year the rockfish population's down, the crab population's down, I mean.
Well, Back River's mostly carp.
Oh, I know, I fish Back River, the kid told me, I mean.
I was born there, so.
Well, if they stop at
Sam.
Mayhay,
Sam, do you want to say something about midges?
Yeah, just for everybody's information, I talked to Kevin Branham again, and for the spring, I'm trying to get everybody to pay attention, because come May this year, when they get out of control again, this BTI that we use to spray for them is grown. It's a natural born log site. You can't go on the shelf, you can't go in the back room and make some more, you can't pick it off the shelf. It's gotta be grown, so if they don't start ahead of time, when everybody starts yelling in May, it's gonna be tough beans. So he figured out the square, or the acres in Back River. There's 4,500 acres in Back River, there's 2,049 acres in Middle River, there's 954 in Bird River, there's 862 in Old Bay Road, there's 791 acres in Bear Creek, and Seneca is 186. So the grand total, if they use the WG BTI, and that's the stuff that sinks, it's $2,053,000 every time they spray all of it. If they use the 12AS, is the stuff that floats. It depends on the species. There's two species of midges now. Some of them are born in the mud, some of them are born floating around and attached to everything they can attach themselves to. So we were mixing both last year. We were using WG and 12AS. But if they use 12AS, it's $837,000 every time they spray. And they suggest 5 times so for the WG, it would be almost $11 million. And I handed this piece of paper to Johnny O, I handed it to Sailing, I handed it to Metzger, I handed it to J.B. Jennings, he's the head of appropriations, and I got an appointment with Brooke Learman, she's the controller, she's 1/3 of the public vote, of the Board of Public Works vote, and she also writes the checks for us to participate from the state, so I figured I try to put in everybody's hands that had anything to do with anything, so hopefully they'll pay attention. I told them all, but people never phone them when we start calling it many, so doing what we can do.
What's the runoff from Back River, is that contributing to any of that?
The runoff, no.
Okay.
The discharge from the treatment plant is nutrient rich, and yes, that does contribute to it. The other factor is there's commercial fishing in the Back River. All the fish in the Back River have been bisected by writing down. Every one of them's full of mid-loading. So this guy that's fishing the river, it's loading 50-foot tractor trailers and 30-yard dumpsters. It's not a little bit of fish, it's a lot of fish. He does it every month. He's taking a natural predator out of Back River. And the other thing is, the whole time they were building 695 and 95 up there, every time it rained, the whole river turned red. Clay runoff is nutrient rich, so you just fed them some more. That's why it kind of got out of control. We've always had it, but the last 12, 15 years it's been out of control, and that's pretty much why.
Speaking of the waste treatment plant, how come the county can't get that under control? I mean, that stinks. I go by it twice a day, 5 days
Well,
a week, and it's absolutely horrible. I mean, if you had to stop right there, you'd die. Seriously, if you broke down right there, you would die. 90% of the time, it stinks so bad. Like even rolling a window down, you know, it doesn't matter if you go by.
The city runs it.
No, the county owns it.
The city runs it.
I thought they said the county was under that. I thought.
It's definitely the city.
Baltimore City.
If you go in there, it's Baltimore City, everything. In fact, there's been a lot of talk about the turds in Back River and everything. Most of that comes from the 50 people that are living back in the woods. If you go to Trap Road and make a left, there's a whole community living back there, including a graveyard. We've walked through that whole development. One guy's got a big tent with a hard door on it, with a lock on the door. But anyway, they're using Bread and Cheese Creek for a potty. They throw the trash, they use it for a toilet, and it comes out right alongside the plant. As far as the smell is concerned, I got 2 guys from MDE. I don't remember their names right offhand. I'll meet with them next week. I'm actually going to take them out on a pontoon boat along with 2 guys from the city. There's actually people that are trying to figure out where it's coming from. I've been in that plant 100 times. If you walk around in the plant, you don't smell it.
You don't smell it.
No.
And you only smell it like when you go right by it.
Yeah, well, there's
you
other-
go down the other end of like Back River. I mean, I'm sorry, you can go in Essex and go past that little. Like once you get over the bridge, like the other side, where Metzger's Auto used to be, like on that side, you don't smell nothing like
Well, it
that.
depends on which way the wind's blowing.
Well, I know it's what it is.
You can smell it up here in the parking lot where the flea market and all that is. And
Yeah, all that, yeah.
Walmart and all that. You can stand out there and smell it.
Right. Well, we do have their attention, and they found somebody in the city. There's 2 guys from the city. Again, I don't have their names, but they came in last week and talked to me. But they're very concerned about it. But they're not sure it's coming from the plant. It's coming from right around the plant. It's not the word. We're going out there next week, and I'm going to ride 30 people up and down alongside the discharge out there and show them what's not happening. But there is something happening. We don't know whether it's coming from the landfill or not, but everybody's on it right now. The public has raised enough hell to get their attention, so there's a bunch of people working on it. It seems like at least they're interested, and they found some people from the city to give it around, so literally.
How can one tour the Back River treatment plant?
They'll let you tour the plant. You go over there and ask them, they'll let you ride around the plant.
They will?
Yeah,
I'll give them a call.
okay.
Because I lived around where we had outhouses, maybe 50 or 100 of them, and it doesn't smell as bad around those outhouses that was there.
We all agree with you 100%.
And it has to be coming from the
That's the only
plant.
place they put millions of dollars every year for the last, 30 years, and it never gets no different.
Well, I've been there 75.
It stinks like it
It
did.
ain't different.
It stinks like it did.
And then they would come
50 years
along and
ago,
put
it smells
them
like
big tanks in there, the 18 million gallon tanks, and they cut all the pine trees down. I don't understand why they haven't replanted that, but that's another thing they did that took away from it. Still shouldn't smell that bad.
No.
And I've been saying and saying and saying, you go to Annapolis, you go to any place in the country, no plant smells like that one. None. You can ride right past them and you don't smell anything even close to that. And like I said, I was in there with the VTI in the bins. I had my head in the bins. It doesn't smell like that. You get over to Walmart and down back or North Point Road, terrible. If the wind's blowing out of the south, you go over Diamond Point and it'll knock you down. I mean, I agree with all of it. I've lived in all of it.
Some of that in there, don't they?
Well, no, that's what yeah, that part of that's not working, but it's still been there for 75 years that I've been on this earth.
So I'm wondering if they're trying to incinerate or anything like that, the stacks that's coming up. Is
Well, that's what they're looking into, but I talked to a couple of guys that worked there for the last 40 years, and that doesn't seem to be the problem, but we're looking into everything over there. You know they make fertilizer, that's where the fires are at.
Exactly.
So, but they all say they don't smell any worse over there either, so I would bet money on it. I'm talking to guys that've been there 40 years, and they disagree with me, but we're gonna keep tracking it down. I mean, we found some guys that are actually interested in finding the answer to the problem for a change. For years, they just went in one ear and out the other ear. But we finally got their attention. I hope it goes someplace, but I'm trying really hard.
Good deal.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sam.
Sam.
Appreciate it. Yeah, but Sam and Karen, they work nonstop on all this stuff. It's amazing. I don't know where they find enough time in the day. But if you guys are interested, maybe like we do at Hart Miller, maybe we could organize a tour over at the plant, see it firsthand. So let me know, maybe sometime we make that happen. Okay. So I just had a couple old business items I wanted to talk about. First of all, thank you to everybody who made it to the Hart Miller trip 2 weeks ago. It was a beautiful day, a little choppy out on the water, but it was great weather, sunny. We had almost a whole ship, so a lot of good information given out. And kind of the best part about it was there were several people who had never been there before, so it's always a great place to show off. And that's the good side. On the then there's actually we're on the Hart Miller Oversight Committee. Sam and Karen are on that also. And one of the things that we've been really trying to emphasize to Maryland Environmental Service, who operate out there, and DNR, who are going to eventually take ownership, is that we have to have a plan. We have to know what we're going to be doing in the future. And that plan is just not there right now. But the chair of the committee, Paul Brilski, wanted to be here tonight to talk about it, but he was busy with the work commitment. But he's actually talked to some legislators to see legislatively how we could move that progress at the island along, and that has really gotten some attention from the Maryland Port Administration and those other two agencies. So I just saw an email today that came out from DNR, and it looks like they are really starting to take seriously trying to come up with a solution as just how the island is going to be closed. One of the things that we talked about last year when they were talking about putting dredge material into Hart Miller again from over at the Trade Point project was that the current plan that they're looking at, that's a preferred plan for closing the island, needs material. It needs over 1 million yards of material to do it. They don't want to have to buy it. So I guess they're going to try to come up with an alternative to close it without having to do that.
Fran,
We'll
can you explain what you mean by close?
Oh, closing the island would mean, like, if you've ever been to the island, say it's into thirds, say dissected into thirds. The top 2/3 are the north cell, the bottom third is the south cell. Many years ago, probably 15 years ago, or more than that, the south cell stopped taking dredge material and was turned into a nature area. So it has mud flats, it has grass areas, it has a little island, a habitat island, and now it's like a big bird sanctuary. it really has turned into a really natural, beautiful area. The North Cell was continued to take material until the end of 2009, and before that, and even after that, they've tried to figure out how to take this, let's see, what do you say, 800 acres? Do you think that is around that? I bet. How can they take that gigantic area and turn it into a nature site? You know, right now, Mother Nature's really taking care of it. It's amazing. The animals, we saw deer when we were out there. Fox. I mean, there's just all kinds of things. There's coyote out there, and then there's birds. I mean, Karen, you told me 1,000 species of birds they found. I mean, it's just amazing how many rare birds that they have never really documented on the East Coast before.
Oh, I think we were saying one turkey.
Turkey. Anyway.
Just need a turkey for Thanksgiving.
So that's what closure is. What is it going to look like as a habitat area, and how are people going to be able to enjoy that area? You know, you're never going to be able to go out into that gigantic hole in the middle. That's just not going to ever, well, we don't think that's ever going to happen. But we will be able to go around the perimeter where the race is. You know, they just finished the race. You'll be able to go around there. And you'll be able to have observation areas. There'll be benches. So that's what all closure would be. How it would really become a beneficial site. But now it's still a construction site, and the north-south, the top 2/3 are off limits. But that's what closure means.
It takes monitoring. I mean, they pump water into it and regulate everything.
Yeah, so
It's not like they can leave it alone. It's a working, breathing thing.
the crazy thing about Miller Island, if you think about it, is it was made as a bowl. And that's how the new dredge site over at Trade Point is going to be. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But you actually build a dike. You know, it's like building a dam almost, and then you fill that dam from the inside with dredge material. As you pump in material, you pump in the stuff, water goes with it because it's a slurry, and then you discharge the water that is in there. It has to be tested. I know at Hart Miller years ago when they were doing a lot of discharge, the pH was out of balance quite often, so they would have to add lime to it. One of the things now, and one of the craziest things that ever happened, you know, during this whole process was it would rain. So it's raining in the island, and it's raining on the outside of the island. The rain would be so acidic from acid rain that once it hit the island, they couldn't release it, even though it's raining water. It didn't meet standards. So that rainwater had to be treated. I haven't heard anything lately about that. I don't think they're really having to treat the water much these days from what they said. But there's going to be a meeting in January, and we're going to find out just what progress these agencies have made toward the goals. And I'm going to get somebody out here next year to actually give us an update on what is going on, what we can expect. You know, a lot of the issue with DNR and the island is who's going to pay for it. You know, DNR operates parks. Well, this is a dredge site. This has to be monitored. Like Ed said, that water has to be monitored. So that's all questions that, like Doug said, that's way above certain people's, our pay level as a committee, as the Hart Miller Oversight Committee. The agencies are the ones who are going to have to come up with the solutions for that. And then the governor and the legislature is going to have to come up with the funding. That's really what it's all about. But we emphasize every time we have a meeting, we tell them this was not an option to do this. This was the promise to the community to create that dredge site. And there was a lot of benefit for the community, for the state. There was a lot of benefit for the state having that there, being able to bring these ships in, and we want them to stand up to their end of the bargain, you know, to make this a really nice site that we can all be proud of and use. So anyway, let's see what else here. The Friends group is the Friends of Hart Miller Island group. You know, had their fundraiser, was very successful. So thanks to everybody who helped with that. But there's going to be, they just got a grant for doing some improvements out on the island as far as recreation and things like that. This is the Friends group now, not the actual port itself. This is the Friends group. And one of the things they asked us to do as a council was to send a letter of support for that grant. So we did that. And we did that under the premise when we were talking about dredge material going into Hart Miller. How many people in the community came out so adamantly, had an opinion, and how important Hart Miller was to them at the time. They made that perfectly clear, you know. And so when it comes time for us to have to solicit to the community for help, you know, for events or for cleanups or whatever, we're hoping that people will remember that and step up and help over there. But that's about it on Hart Miller. You guys have anything else? They don't have anything to add to Hart Miller? Yes.
Still only ever going to be accessible by private boats.
So that's one of the questions right now that we're discussing. You know, is it really a viable commercial venture to have somebody take a boat over and take people over? And Sam talked to people, and apparently some people are interested in doing that. One of the issues now is if you go over in a boat, you have to anchor. They have the professional pier for the MES boat and all that stuff, but people aren't allowed to tie up to that. So that's part of the discussion for future investments, to create a pier, an offloading pier, where you could take people over and do that. And that's a good question. I mean,
Is that gonna be a fishing pier too, or just a pier to unload, like, is that, I mean, people gonna be able to like fish off, like say you get off the boat, you know, you wanna fish, are they gonna be able to fish off that pier too, or is it just a pier to load and unload people?
well, remember when they first built the island, they put all those piers on the outside, and I think they lasted one winter. The ice kind of wiped them all out. That was really a boondoggle. But anyway, no, that hopefully people can get out. And so that's another issue with it. So that's another good point that DNR has. That, you know, when we come to the table, they say, look, we have X amount of dollars, we have X number of parks. Where do we put these dollars? Do we put it into a park where people actually have access to it? Or do we put it into Hart Miller? And that's one of our points is, this money should not be brought out of the DNR budget.
No, it
This
should be
should
coming
be
from the
put in
Port.
from the original agreement.
It
That
come from
money
the
should
Port
be
of
there
Baltimore
for that. So anyway,
DNR should have to pay.
Certain fee for like a ferry ride to go over.
that's what it would be. You pay for the
And
ride.
that money would go towards taking care of the,
But whoever has the boat will probably take that. You know.
yeah.
Not going to happen tomorrow. That's,
Nature permits for camping.
so.
We're after they get the Key Bridge done.
So next thing I have on here is St. Luke's. You know, there was all that rumor going around that it was going to be a housing development. Pretty reliable sources that we've heard, not totally confirmed 100%, but that is being purchased by another church group, and so it will remain a house of worship and I guess a community center for that.
Well, they just wanna keep building in Edgemere, like, leave Edgemere alone, like, I mean, we don't have room now, I mean, the schools are overcrowded, I mean, you see trying to get in and out of Edgemere?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, I mean, they're turning this into Baltimore City, it's like little Baltimore City.
That's a whole other story. Watch our meeting last month. Rod McMillan gave a great presentation on enrollments and funding and that kind of thing. So anybody who has a question about traffic that's being affected by the schools, go back and watch that. It's on the YouTube channel, right? Yeah.
Oh, I was at the meetings when they talked about the schools and all, when they had the meeting over here, the meeting over at Dundalk High School and everything.
Yeah.
Because the one guy, he didn't even know that the country club people belong to Sparrows Point. He said, what do you mean it belongs to Sparrows Point? I said, it's got Sparrows Point listed. That don't belong to Dundalk. They may have Dundalk zip code, but Sparrows Point claims it.
Yeah.
So where are all them kids gonna go? And down here.
Oh yeah, that little cowboy church at Cowboy.
Sunshine.
Okay, so the Key Bridge rebuild, I just wanted to touch on that real quick. So they're constantly updating, they have a website, keybridgerebuild.com, and they just came out with this new newsletter. It's called, this is just the front of it, and it's in color, but this is called Key Connected, kind of cute. But they have all kind of really great information as far as what's going on with the rebuild, timelines, people involved, different things like that. So if you're interested in how things are going with that, and they're going to put these out periodically, it's keybridgerebuild.com. So go there and pull that down. There's all kind of other good information on there also. Let's see. Well, I have on here for Todd's inheritance update. This coming weekend, 8th and 9th, we're open. That's our normal monthly opening. And I'm sure we all know that 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the country. And so there's really going to be a lot. Remember, like back in the bicentennial, the War of 1812, they did all that stuff. So that's going to happen for the bicentennial. And so our speaker this month is going to be talking about a Maryland group of Red War soldiers. So it should be really, really interesting. A lot of people are asking about the trail, what's going on with the parking lot progress and all that. So to me, I look at it and it looks finished. It's a DNR project. We don't, Todd really doesn't have any control over it. It's all still closed off. The fences are up. All the cones are up. Apparently there are some issues when they did the walkthrough with the contractor, and they want the contractor to correct some things or whatever. But they can't open up anything on the project piecemeal. It has to go all or none, is what they told me. So as of now, it's still closed. It's kind of, it seems like such a waste. We have people parking across the street and in the yard, and we have this nice parking lot there now. Hopefully we'll be getting that soon. I'm counting on we'll be having it by April.
Sounds like our program.
It'll be here any day now.
Well, one cool thing, so I think it's the class of 75 at Scarsdale High School is having a 50-year reunion, and they contacted us, and we're going to do a special tour for some of the people who are from out of town that didn't have been there for a long time. So that we're going to do that tomorrow night for them. And I just want to remind everybody, if you have a church group, women's group, children's group, anything like that, we do private tours. I'm happy to do that. We love having people come down. And we have about 1,000 people so far. Mm-hmm. So in new business, I mentioned that we have a YouTube channel for all the videos. When we get out of the meeting tonight, I don't know if anybody's interested, but there's a fundraiser photo exhibit over at the headquarters for the Outpost, where the old drive-in used to be. We have the local photographers who post all these beautiful landscape, these nature pictures and stuff on the Engineer page and all of our local pages. I know I've really gotten a much more appreciation for what's out there. The pictures are amazing. But there's a fundraiser for one of the photographers tonight, so it's until 9 o'clock if anybody wants to head over. I think they have a ton of his pictures that they're trying to sell. So that's the night at the Outpost headquarters over at the old drive-in. I also have on, as our speaker, I advertised our planner, Jess, but they have a small area planning meeting. What that is, the county's going out to these different stuff. They define a small area. Well, this one's Middle River, I think Bowley's Quarters, Essex. So they define that as a small area, whatever the boundaries are, and then they go out to the public just like this. They go to these public meetings, like Doug said, and they ask people, what is your vision for your community? And so they've done all this outreach stuff. They do pop-ups different places. So the report is being presented to the planning board because they have to sign off on it, and they're doing that tonight, I think. So Jess couldn't make it, but she apologized and said she wants to come back again for sure. We want to introduce her to you. She's sounds like a nice lady. Yeah. Let's see. Trade Point, so, a lot going on over there with the terminal. There's a meeting tonight, another meeting tonight up at the library, an NDE hearing for their dredge site, which they want to make that their new dredge containment over where the old oxygen plant was. There's a pond of water there now. They're going to pump that out and build a dike around it and put dredge material there. MDE had a meeting tonight. I asked if it was going to be virtual or recorded, and the answer I got back was no. So that's a shame, because I would have liked to have been there for that. But you can't be at two places at once, that's for sure. But the project, so from what we understand, they're going to start dredging. Once the project is approved, they'll start dredging, and the first year of dredge material will go to the Masonville dredge site. It's already built in the city. That's one of the NPA sites. And then that will give them a year to build the dike. And then in year 2, they'll start putting their dredge material in there. And they're thinking it's going to be finished dredging and then poured up in 28 still, so in 2028. But then again, you know, for these dredge sites, you need a closure plan. They said their plan now is that it will take about 5 years for that material to dry before they can cap it and claim anything on it. And they might be right. I mean, we thought in 2009, Hart Miller, we'd be ready in 5 years to close that off, and here we are, for one reason or another. So a good thing, lace up your shoes, and down Miller's Island, the Rec Council is having a turkey trot. Ron will be there, right? Yeah.
Every day.
It's a turkey trot. If you go to esprec.com, you can sign up for it. It's a 5K, and it is to support the Rec Council and the kids' programs. And they're
They
asking for
got plenty
people.
of turkeys down there.
Asking for people, if you don't run, you can walk it. Just come down, support. You can stand on the sidelines and cheer if you want. Everybody's welcome. And then I think Dr. Bay's having a...
When is it? When is that, Fred?
turkey trot? November 13th.
No.
22nd.
11/22, 9 a.m.
You get up early, Ron.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get it there.
So here's something that we didn't do last year. I don't remember because we were away. Well, when we first started back in 2017, we started a thing on Black Friday, and we called it the Black Friday March, which was a little play on Black March and shopping Black Friday. And so we're going to have that again. It's on that Friday after Thanksgiving at 9 a.m. And I think Linda and Greg said they would meet people down there who wanted to walk. So we're going to meet at the Fort Howard Veterans Memorial Park, and then just take a little walk, however long you want, however fast you want. I don't think there's any pressure. Just a time to get out and meet some neighbors. You know, I know we did it for probably 5 or 6 years, and it was 5 years at least. And we met a lot of really good people, a lot of new people that you never really see. And there's also an NPA running group now, so I think they're all going to be there. There's going to be a whole nother thing of people. One thing that I saw on Facebook we're really not involved with, but is really a great cause. The bait shop is collecting money and have volunteers from the community. It looks like for food for St. Luke's Place for the seniors to make sure they have a good Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we voted our board team that we're going to make a donation. But I encourage anybody who is interested in that to help out. They had a list on their Facebook page last week, and there were quite a few things they were still in need of, but they also were taking cash donations. So
That guy's a great guy. Got him onto that bait shop. He worked there when he was 14 years old. I mean, he's a local guy. You know, he does a lot for this community.
He does a lot.
He does
He
a
really
hell of a
does.
lot for this
Yeah.
community. He's always doing raffles, always giving stuff away.
yeah. So Peace Memorial Love at the VFW. That is going to be dedicated on November the 11th at 11 a.m. And everybody is invited to that. And it really is pretty. It's really a nice looking.
Yeah, they did a great job.
It really looks nice. We bought a block. We bought one of the big blocks from the council, and I see quite a few names. If you go up and look at the block, you'll see quite a few names from people that you recognize. So, which one? Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks. TPA is having their open, they have these open houses quarterly or whatever. So the next open house is November the 13th, and that's at 6 p.m. and they're virtual. So if you go to their website, I'm sure you can get a link onto that. I'm not sure what it is right now. But then another annual event that's really well attended that is keeping on the tradition is the star lighting, and that is on December the 2nd at 5 p.m. So everybody's welcome to that also. And I don't really have any, I have one other thing, but does anybody have anything?
How about the tree lighting in Edgemere?
Oh, so I inquired about the Christmas tree lighting at the fire hall, right out front here. And I got back December the 5th, but that was tentative, probably going to be December 5th. But I'm not sure what time either. It's dark. Usually it's around 6 o'clock or so. But we'll have more information at our next meeting, I think. I think our December meeting's before then.
And when you were talking about the Trade Point star being lit, when was that going to be?
That is December the 2nd.
Okay.
At 5 p.m.
That TP open house on November 13th, where's that at? Virtual.
It's all virtual. They used to have them the first couple of years
Right,
over there.
they had them open, you can go in.
And food.
Yeah. And crab cakes.
Linda has to cook that night. That's about it. Anybody have anything? Yes, sir, Ron.
Well, my nephew just showed me that we were talking earlier. Sparrows Point football over here. Was it varsity, right?
Yeah, varsity.
Varsity's in playoffs. They won tonight, 43-6. Wow. Yeah. Who's from Rocky? Who did he play by? Surtsville. Down around DC, I think they are. Yeah, they beat them 43-6.
We were wondering what all the cars were.
Yeah, so they're doing real good over there. They won last time.
9-0.
Yeah, 9-0. 9-0. Good for them guys.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody have anything else?
Oh, Sparrows Point football, varsity football, won 43-6.
43-6.
Go Point.
That's right.
Yes, Karen.
Just at the oysters, if anybody's interested, if they like fresh, sorry, I'm losing my voice. Fresh oysters. We had started dealing with some of the oyster farms during COVID, so we still deal with them and bring them directly to us. So as a Maryland Maryland Waterways kind of fundraiser, we don't. It's more just to bring the farmer and the people together, the oysters together. We'll have them for Thanksgiving.
How much is that bushel?
It's $40 for a bag of 50 oysters.
What is it?
Sam's growing these red weavers, Marina?
Yep.
There it is. Very good, Sam.
Watch the salt level.
Right at the disposal. Five over there.
Sam's busy man.
No, it really is a good fun. It's a good fundraiser, and the oysters are good too.
They're really good.
Yeah, they're really good. So yeah, 50 years is doable. When you get 100 oysters, that's a lot of dollars.
It's a lot of split it with somebody and you get a little break.
Well, we usually split them.
Yeah.
If we have the number, if anybody needs the number, to the camera.
Okay.
Never mind.
Okay, let's see how this
Okay,
works.
that's all I-
Wait a minute.
That's all I had. Anybody else have anything? Okay, I just wanted to remind everybody that this month was nominations for, with our bylaw, we have bylaws. Our bylaws that this month was nominations for office. So, does anybody want to nominate themselves or somebody else? Okay.
Well,
All fun and sand.
I make a recommendation, the officers stay as they are.
Thank you.
I have a nomination.
Yes.
I nominate Linda Piazza for a director position.
There you go. You don't have to say anything. I know you're humble. Is that the good word? Yeah. And I think Ron has volunteered.
treasurer slot, yeah.
Step up for treasurer, because you know Tim Stadler, our longtime treasurer, was vice president and dropped that to treasurer, or lateral to treasurer, moved. We're gonna really miss Tim, but, he moved, so. Anyway, next month will be elections, that's something we're gonna have to do. So look, when you go home, sleep on it if you wanna do something. We can always use more directors. And if you wanted to have another position, that's for sure. Just let us know. And the last thing I have on here is happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We're not gonna see you until December. So have a safe holiday season. And I guess we will be back in December, the first week of December, first Thursday. So anybody, anything else?
Oh, wait a minute. I wanted to ask if there were questions online. I see something. Let me see. So I don't know if this, somebody says the Back River Community Action Group has been meeting with MDE, DPW, and Baltimore County government along with Blue Water Baltimore. So that probably was back, that was probably back when Sam was talking. Okay, no.
Linda's just checking to see if
That's
there's
good.
any questions.
Okay.
That was it?
Yep.
Okay, guys, thank you to everybody who came out tonight. Please have a safe trip home, and we'll see you next month.